practically sweating right now, thanks to the nearly 200 proof vodka he drank. But although his feeling has returned to his fingers, he still doesn't have the strength to climb the rope. That said, the mere thought of being left alone in the well makes him shiver. I'll go too. Please take me with you. Have it your way. Ryoko steps into the tunnel without looking back, and Koji doesn't hesitate to follow her. You were pretty different the last time we met, Koji said sarcastically, following Ryoko as she moves cautiously down the tunnel with her light leading the way. This isn't the hospital, and you're not my patient. This service doesn't come with a smile. So this is who you really are? I wonder, does it matter? Ryoko suddenly stops and stares at the floor. When Koji looks over her shoulder, he sees dust-covered rope lying coiled in the middle of the path. What is it? Something left behind by the last guy who came down here as well. Oh, down that well. Excuse me. Damn. Ryoko picks up the rope, examines it, and hands it to Koji. It's about twice as long as my rope. It has a knot in it, and both ends have been severed. They were connected before, making it a circle. Huh? You loop one end of the circle around something topside, then use the rest to climb down into the well. When you're at the bottom, you cut the circle open and pull the whole rope in with you, leaving behind no trace of your descent. Ryoko shines her light down the tunnel, revealing that it ends in a closed wooden door about 10 meters ahead. That's how he avoided detection after hiding here. He really got me good. Doctor, you said you've been here before. Yeah, you and Sakaseki-kun aren't the only ones, Ryoko says dryly. I checked out Ugi's cabin a while back. Whoa! As Ryoko speaks, she opens up her coat and pulls out something she has hanging underneath it. If there aren't any other exits, then he's still behind that door. At first, Koji thinks she's holding a steel pipe. Amazed that she could be carrying a weapon, Koji looks closer and is appalled when he realizes what it really is. That's a freaking sawed-off shotgun. It's a gun. Not one of those sleek handguns that he's seen in the movies, but a double-barreled shotgun. The stock of most of it's probably been sawed off for easier concealment, making it appear even more terrifyingly brutal. That sentence sounded like the most horrible sentence I could have ever tried to have read. What is that? You know what that is. A 12-gauge shotgun, Ryoko replies blandly, as though naming a brand of cigarettes. I don't have a permit for it, and cutting it down like this is also illegal. Yeah, I guess I did say that right. Any other questions? What are you planning to do with that? Shoot it? Ryoko looks over her shoulder and shows Koji her most chilling smile yet. When I first learned what Ogi was doing, I was a model citizen. I'd never even gotten a ticket. The woman who Koji had thought was just a normal doctor waves her sawed-off shotgun menacingly as she continues, her tone sharp yet self-deprecating. If I had this back then, I probably would have been able to kill Ogi then and there. If I had, you kids might have been dragged into this disaster. I feel bad about that. Really. Oh. Koji listens in silence, helpless to do anything but watch as understanding moves farther and farther out of his grasp. In other words, everything I do from now on is to clean up this mess that you and your friends have stepped into. Wait. Remember that, and don't ask any unnecessary questions. Got it? Koji's only choice is to nod weakly in response. Oh. I thought by cleaning up she was gonna blow his fucking head off. With the light in her left hand and the shotgun in her right, Ryoko walks up to the door and takes a deep breath. Then she kicks the door open, putting her full weight behind the blow. With a disappointingly feeble sound, the door breaks off its hinges and falls into the room. In the beam of Ryoko's light, dust billows in the air like white smoke. The room is large, probably at least 35 square meters in size. Koji's first impression is of an operating theater that was turned into a storage room. The tiled floor is set with drainage gates. There's no mistaking the movable operating table sitting in the middle of the room. One of the walls is covered with cabinets containing enamelware and drugs, while against the opposite wall stands a writing desk and bookshelves. Even Koji can recognize that much. The mysterious objects cluttering the tables and shelves, however, are behind his comprehension. Mirrors delicately engraved with complex patterns, grotesque statues and masks that must have been left behind by a race of savages, tapestries woven in nauseating arrays of colors, a crystal ball the size of an infant's head. There's probably all antiques, but there's one thing they definitely have in common. Every one of them is loathsome and foul, that Koji feels sick just looking at it. It's as though they were designed for the sole sinister purpose of immortalizing their creator's hatred of the world. Rare-looking books of the sort that were in Ogi's Tokyo home are piled here and there, and one of the shelves are stacked with some scrolls that look to be made of some kind of sheepskin or papyrus. Whatever it is, it's not paper. Finally, there are the indecipherable chalk patterns and symbols filling every available space on the walls. Even the two sliding blackboards are completely covered in strange, unreadable scribblings. Just looking at them is making Koji dizzy. Don't look, Ryoko snaps at him. Listen, don't move. And whatever you do, don't touch anything. Even if it seems to draw your attention, don't look at it. If you see something that feels wrong, stare at your shoes right away. Got it? Yeah. Ryoko switches from the floodlight to the fluorescent lamp, then sets a light on a nearby table where it can illuminate the whole room. She then holsters her shotgun, only to pull out an even more confusing set of tools: a digital camera and a can of spray paint. She gives the spray paint in her left hand a good shake. Switching the camera and her right hand on, and stepping into the room while looking at the camera's side-mounted screen. After methodically recording the symbols on the walls and blackboards, she immediately begins to cover them in layers of black spray paint. Doctor? D.D. Downey read as he took a drink of a soda. Lesson 1. Never look at strange designs or read anything written in unusual languages like Latin. Using a camera to record them for later examination, then use paint or something to destroy the real thing. Now that she mentions it, Koji realizes that she's only looking at the screen of the camera, and even then, in only short glimpses, and never directly at any of the drawings. He understands what she's saying, but it still doesn't make any sense. Why do you have to... Now that you've come this far, you better shut up and listen for your own good. Things like crystal balls and mirrors are dangerous. Anything can happen if you break them, so it's best to cover them with a cloth or paint over them for the time being. Koji begins to fear that this doctor might even be even crazier than Fuminori. Maybe not. She is kind of protecting you right now, and she didn't blow your head off. Despite the burst of energy he received from the vodka, Koji is still exhausted from having spent the night at the bottom of a well. The fear is affecting his body, making him dizzy and nauseous. Soon the walls are covered in black paint, and the stale air is thick with the smell of turpentine. That should do it for now, Ryoko says with relief, then tosses the empty can aside and puts away her video camera. What happened to Ogi? Koji asked, supporting himself against the nearby table. Huh? Oh, he was over there. Without stopping her examination of the papers on the writing table, Ryoko nonchalantly points to a Chinese-style screen standing in one corner of the room. He was there. Her clinical choice of tense makes the truth clearer than any words can. The urge to see for himself is irresistible. Koji staggers across the room to the screen, taking the utmost care not to look at the scaly octopus thing that is painted on it. Hey, that's his daughter. Behind the screen is a large easy chair. Although he's never met the man before, Koji is fairly sure that the person sitting in it... Wait, what? Koji is fairly sure that the person sitting in it is Ogi Mashiko. What? Oh, okay. Ogi's corpse must have shrunken significantly while drying in the sealed, undiscovered chamber. The skeleton is barely the size of a child's, with the business suit hanging from the bones offering any hint of Ogi's former stature. His empty eye sockets and wide open jaw are filled with darkness, the same darkness that surrounds Koji at the bottom of the well. Compared to those gaping voids, the tiny hole in Ogi's right temple is almost demure. The small revolver he must have used to kill himself is still clenched in his dangling right hand. Next to Ryoko's shotgun, it would probably look like a child's toy. Ryoko must have noticed Ogi's corpse when she was spraying the paint on the walls. Having gotten beyond surprise by now, Koji is instead impressed by Ryoko's ability to keep working next to a corpse without batting an eyelash. She's a doctor. He wonders why he keeps meeting people who are totally crazy. She's a doctor! If it weren't for her, Koji reminds himself with a bitter smirk, he would have ended up joining this mummified corpse here, and no one would have ever found him. Koji's vision suddenly dims. He's pushed himself too hard, and this Yes, vodka. Can't help him anymore. He collapses to the floor, unable to hang on to his slipping consciousness. And the last things he sees are Ogimishiko's gaping eye sockets staring at him. Huh. When he awakens, Koji finds himself laying on something dry and soft. A bed is a bed, he thinks to himself, even one that smells of mold and dust, and especially after having slept in the cold mud all night. There are no lights hanging from the ceiling, but the soft warm light of a lamp fills the room. A room devoid of furnishings, Koji realizes that he's in Ogi's cabin, in the ground floor bedroom that he searched before getting pushed into the well. You're awake? Wait, how did she carry his big ass out of there? This woman's a badass. When Koji turns his head to face the voice, he sees Ryoko sitting in a chair against the wall, expressionlessly studying the pile of documents on the table in front of her. She must have brought them up from Ogi's underground lab. As she examines the papers by the light of the lamp, she occasionally takes bites of the sandwich she has in her free hand. If you feel up to eating, there's food here. Without looking from the file, she gestures towards the convenient store bag sitting on the nightstand. How did I get here? Koji can't imagine the woman, even one like Ryoko, could have climbed out of the well with him on her back. There was a sealed door behind one of the bookshelves down there, Ryoko mutters, as though talking to herself. Taking care not to let her explanation interfere with her reading or eating, she continues. It was a pain to break open, but it led to the boiler room underneath the cabin. The other side had been hidden with a thin layer of mortar. Like the explosive? He probably sealed it after bringing all his equipment into the secret lab, and then used the well to get in and out. Pretty thorough. Was there really something in there that he needed to hide so badly? There used to be. This is the last of it. Having finished her sandwich, Ryoko picks up some unsorted papers with her free hand and waves them in the air. Not all scholars want to get on a stage at a symposium and show off their research to the world, you know. There's also nutcases who get their kicks by learning secrets no one else knows, and by being buried with those secrets in hidden tombs that no one will ever find. Koji still hasn't the slightest idea what Ogi's secret might have been. From what Ryoko said in the tunnel, however, he can guess that whatever it is has something to do with Fuminori. Fuminori. What happened to him? Koji asks so desperately, no longer caring who he gets answers from. What does Fuminori have to do with that dead body down there? Just what is it that you're after? That's what I'm trying to find out, Ryoko replies coldly, as though Koji's concerns are none of hers. Sakisaka-kun told me that he'd been asked to find Ugi by one of Ugi's relatives. Yes. He told me the same thing. Oh? Well, at least that's consistent. Ryoko pulls several sheets of loose-leaf paper from the different file. The truth is that Ugi had no real relatives. I thought that Sakisaka-kun was simply lying. However, there was another possibility I should have considered. He might have been tricked by someone claiming to be Ogi's family. Ryoko pauses and looks sidelong at Koji. Does the name Saya ring a bell? Messiah? No. Who is that? Who or what is the question, but the more I read, the less I understand. She sighs bitterly, then returns her attention to the papers in her hand. All I can say for sure is that it appears to have been the focus of Ogi's research. If Saki Sekikun has become deeply involved with whatever Sai is, then he's already past the point of no return. Oh. She's a gold digger.
Ace got that water, and I present water. 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 Ace got that water, and I present water, and I present water.